Good morning and welcome to Friday. It is here, Labor Day weekend. How you doing? Patriot Radio News Hour, Joe Jaquin, CEO, 800-951-0592. If you don't know what that number's for, well, you just haven't been listening. The website at allamericangold.com. And like I said, it is Labor Day weekend. Going to be record-setting heat here in the Valley once again, but I'm told, here's the good news, double-digit weather coming next week. That's what they're saying. That's what they're threatening. So it's almost time. A couple more, 3 more weeks or so, we'll be able to start bragging the absolute hottest summer ever here in the Valley of the Sun, and it's almost over, but just in case you were hoping for a little cooler temperatures over the Labor Day weekend, I think we're going to be back in that 110 range. But then after that, we're going to cool off. If you're heading out of town, be patient. Be patient. I know everyone wants to get to the same place all at once, but take your time, get there safely, and enjoy it, and be safe. There you go. There's my wishes here for this Labor Day weekend. Just a couple of announcements really quickly. Cheeto Ed, if you're out there, give us a call. For those of you who don't know, Cheeto Ed is one of the great customers of Patriot, longtime listener, also a big supporter of the station up there in Colorado at 1360. By the way, this weekend, I want to let everybody know, we have added some just great programming at 1360khnc.com, by the way, over the week. We got great programming all the time, but especially over the weekend. One of our shows, Liberty Revolt, had been up in Seattle doing some filming and just filming, standing on the sidelines. The show they're going to do this weekend, make sure you tune in to them noon to 1 Sunday Mountain Time. What has happened from Antifa, whatever you'd like to call them, the looters and the rioters, and what they have tried to do to the young man who was filming it, you're going to want to listen. It's going to upset you. It's going to anger you. Listen, this is not what America is. Right? This is not the land of freedom. And believe me, the people doing the rioting and the looting, I'm not talking about the people that are upset about police brutality. That's different. That is America. Hey, you want to protest peacefully and do that? That's America. I'm talking about the rioters and the looters and the murderers, right, and the people that are out there to maim and injure and cause mayhem. This is much bigger than you could have possibly imagined. I'm not going to say any more about it because I don't want to ruin it for these guys, but the power of the internet can be a good thing, and it can be a very, very dangerous thing. So tune in. And the show before that, Mystery Babylon, by the way, they're on right before, from 11 to noon, right before Liberty Revolt. People are loving that show. We've gotten more emails and comments about that show, so check that out. And, of course, it's all started with the great Rick Rodriguez and his 2-hour ministry there on Sundays. And our Saturday show, same thing. We got just great programming. Matter of fact, we're going to add another show on Saturday. Just a lot of great things going on. 1360khnc.com. Also, the Facebook page, our 1360 Facebook page. We are being censored by Facebook they don't want us to be able to get our message out to people. Make sure you like us there. Like us, share it with your friends. If nothing else, just to spite the Facebook police and get the word out for us. I mean, we only started this page. I want to say it was like the first week of April, maybe the last week of March, first week of April, something like that. And we've already got, I think, almost 1,100 followers and growing. organically. And the funny thing is I just had our web guy, he just told me the other day that Facebook is now censoring us and blocking our ability to try to get like-minded people to follow our Facebook page and the radio station and things of that nature. So we've got to, hey, that's great. That's fine. That means what we're doing is working. Make sure you get out there. If you want to do that, you can just go to 1360khnc.com and hit the F, the Facebook F. You know what it looks like, and like us and follow us and chime in and put your comments in. The guys from Liberty Revolt have posted some stuff there, so you can kind of see what they're talking about and all the other things happening. So a lot going on. I know it's Labor Day. Jobs were out today. What a number. We'll talk about it. Numbers can mean a lot of things, can't they? Especially when we like to just make them up. Speaking of numbers, Wall Street, another painful day. Yesterday was an 800 down day. Today, right now, and it's early, but down over another 500 more points. And this is just, again, the Labor Day holiday, and I think just the time everybody knows it's gotten way ahead of itself and all of those other things. And I think the biggest thing was the numbers from the jobs. They appeared really good, but the devil's always is in the details. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back right after the break. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. The headlines: 1.4 million jobs created, according to the government this morning. This was the month of August. 1.4 million. And again, I guess 1.37, I guess, was the technical number. Dow Jones was looking for 1.32. The unemployment rate down to 8.4%. At least the way the government wants to tell us. Now, on the whole, listen, that's a decent number. Remember what I said yesterday? You got to have at least 1 million. And I didn't think we'd get 1 million. How we got 1 million, government jobs. The federal government accounted for over 25% of those jobs, apparently. And I don't know, but we hired 337,000, and I guess most of census workers in August, maybe, possibly, that was in there. Local and state governments had a big hiring, but we think that was teachers, which normally shouldn't be in there. But either way, over 400,000, almost 500,000 of it was government. But having said that, still near 1 million private sector jobs, which that's okay, right? I mean, it's not the 4 million. Right? It's not the 4 million jobs we had last month. I mean, when you take the last 3 months, I guess June, July, and August, we're somewhere around 7 million. And you think about, we've had 50-some million people file for unemployment claims, so it's not exactly, ripping the cover off the ball. But I'm going to say this. I was actually happy with the number. I'm like, okay, that's better than I thought it was going to be for me. I thought, hey, that's better than I thought. Then we look into the numbers. The biggest part was the unemployment rate, down to 8.4%. How did we get there? Right? Yesterday we had jobless claims. Now, one of the things, and pardon me, I got sidetracked, or I just didn't mention it. The government releases continuing claims every Thursday. Okay, every Thursday. And, of course, remember, I've educated you now. You got to add two numbers together to get the continuing claims number. Now, the TV, apparently, in the newspapers, too, all the print media, if you will, and any other media, except for right here, they refuse to do that. And here's the thing. I know it's hard. I mean, it's difficult because, first of all, you got to add two numbers together, and they're big numbers, right? They're in the tens of millions. So, it's like, it's complicated, I guess. I mean, I know probably a third grader could pull this off. And I know that the two numbers, it must be hard to find. That, that has to be it, right? The government's trying to hide it from us, because, that's what that's usually what the government will do. Well, we'll just kind of, it's like inflation, right? We got 6 numbers. We're only going to tell you about the one we want you to know about. It's not even that. You've got to go a whopping 2 paragraphs down in the report. So the Department of Labor releases the report every Thursday. A whole 2 paragraphs to get the other number. So you got to go down 2 paragraphs, and then you got to do some math, right, to get the number. So believe it or not, remember yesterday I kind of chided the government for deciding to change the seasonal adjustments. By the way, I don't know if they did that on this report. They didn't say they did. So I'm going to assume that they didn't, even though I'm leery. But I'm going to say that they didn't. They left the methodology for today alone. But yesterday, they changed the methodology, right, and got a lower number, which a lot of us are like, well, it's really the same, which is about 1 million people losing their jobs every week or filing for the first time. But inside that report, there was a big jump in continuing claims. In other words, we already know that there was millions, tens of millions of people that have been out of work for, 10, 12, 15 weeks or more. But it seems like this report was like, hey, the people that started losing their jobs recently aren't finding a new one. And the number of people filing continuous claims shot back up to 29 million, which is the highest it's been in a month. Now, having said that, that was yesterday. Now, that was one government report. One government report says, hey, we got 29 million people filing continuing claims and another 881 filing for the first time. Add them together. We got 30 million people out of work, which would put the unemployment rate at somewhere right around 20%. So how do they come out one day later and say 8.4? Well, the answer is very simple. See, a lot of these people, according to the government, the reason why they can say 8.4 instead of 20, they said that there's people that they call on temporary layoff, which they don't like to count 6.2 million people. Hey, it's temporary. So they're really not unemployed. It's just temporary. Right? We're not going to count those. But then they also have furloughed employees. Okay, these are people who say they're not working because their employer either closed or lost business due to the pandemic. They don't count either. So I don't understand how. Now I get the whole, okay, well, you got furloughed, right? But if your company went out of business, you're laid off. But hey, this is why you listen. I don't know what it all means. Like I said, on the plus side, we created like 900,000 private jobs. That was good. Now, part of the bad part was the majority, again, were in all the industries we already know are need layoffs. Bars and restaurants, right? So places reopen, like here in Arizona. The places that were just bars got to reopen. Things of that nature. The hospitality, the hotels, retail. They said retail, and again, I don't know, created like 200,000 jobs. And I'm thinking JCPenney's just said, hey, nobody wants to buy us. We're probably going to have to liquidate. 70,000 people are going to be out of work. I don't know. But inside of the number, this is how you get different numbers. So the details of the report match the details from yesterday. We had about 30 million people out of work. The problem is the way they present the numbers, right? You get a totally different picture. So there you have it. So on the top side, good news. And again, I think this is why you're seeing a continuation of that huge Wall Street sell-off that we had yesterday, because the inside of the numbers, it's really the same, which is we've got about 30 million people we got to find work for, or they're all headed for eviction. They're headed for food stamps, right? They're headed for being dependent upon the government. And I don't know how any of that actually works out. The good news, though, I'll give us, you know what? So some good news outside of just the 900 or so thousand private sector jobs. Mike Pence came out today and said that they have an agreement with Congress not to have another government shutdown, even if they don't have another stimulus bill. So I guess that's good news, right? Because if you have another government shutdown, remember that all non-essential government personnel can't go to work. And wouldn't it be funny if, like, the unemployment office was non-essential? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So according to Pence, there's not going to be, because remember, October 1 starts the new fiscal year. But they're saying they're not going to shut down. This will be the first time in a while that hasn't happened. So it will be interesting. I hope that's true, but I'm not sure if it will be or not. By the way, news out of China today. Something we're going to have to talk about. And there was a big article in the mainstream China, I guess what we'll call the Chinese leadership mouthpiece. You know, if you could say, as an example, the Wall Street Journal was a proxy for the stock market. The paper in China that this was coming out of is a proxy for the Chinese government. And, of course, we know, right, the president going after them with TikTok and WeChat. Now he's also going after them about, hey, your relationships with our scientists at these universities. And we've seen it like Harvard and Texas and California, these scientists now being brought up on charges for handing over sensitive and I would say protected data to the Chinese. Right? In other words, the Chinese are very involved in our college system. And if you, and again, I've got college-age kids, so maybe it's a little more prevalent to me, but they are inundated in our colleges. And they've made, and again, you know what? They pay full boat, right? The colleges love them because, hey, they get to whack them the most. They got to pay the most to get in. But they're in there to steal all of our secrets and get all of the best information out of these colleges. And they're going into the best of the best, right? The research colleges, and they're going in there and they're stealing all of this technology. And we're helping them, right? Because they befriend the scientists, right? The professors, right? Hey, here's a little extra cash. Here's some graph, right? And they go in and kind of like, you know, the scandal with all the famous people were getting their kids. You know, they were on the rowing team to get to USC and all that. Same thing. But instead of getting a Chinese kid into the college, no, it was befriending the professors to get the secrets. Well, now President Trump is going after that now, saying, hey, from here on out, it's not official yet. But they talked about it yesterday where they're going to make Chinese officials have to check with the White House before they can talk to any or have a relationship with any of our college, especially our scientists and things of that nature. China fired back yesterday. We've been waiting right? What is the response going to be, especially with TikTok and WeChat and some of the others? Today we got the first glimmer, and it was exactly the lever we don't want to see, which is Treasuries. Right? China, the world's second largest. Remember, they were already the first largest holder, but they've been reducing their holdings, and now Japan's back to number one. But now China today saying that that's it, we've had enough. We're going to start dumping treasuries if this relationship with the United States doesn't improve. So when we get back, we'll talk about what exactly are how much? What's the timetable? What does that mean for us financially? What does that mean for the dollar? And then we're also going to talk about J.P. Morgan updating China's role in the world with the renminbi over the next 5 to 10 years. Patriot Radio News Hour. Don't touch that dial. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. On a Friday here, Labor Day weekend, so I guess I need to remember, we're closed Monday. Patriot is closed, both in Arizona and Colorado. The radio stations are closed, both in Arizona and Colorado. We'll be back on Tuesday. I will be having surgery on Tuesday, so I will not be here. We'll have a replacement for Tuesday. Hopefully, I'll be back on Wednesday. If not, if I'm taking a little longer than maybe Tuesday and Wednesday, but I'm not anticipating being out any longer than that. I guess I probably should have said that earlier. Gold has staged a huge rally. It was down with Wall Street, has now come all the way back to even now. So 1930, silver came with it. Silver's back to pretty much even here, 26.75 or 26. 2670, 2675, and we'll keep watching. I'm not too worried about what we're seeing at all, especially the last few days. We've got everybody getting ready to have the long weekend here. We've had this big Wall Street rally. I think everyone's getting ready to hunker down for election. Right? This is the hunker down election. I also think the great data points are now behind us, and we're going to have to start dealing with the reality that is in front of us. So hopefully we'll kind of, I don't know, hopefully things go the way I want them to go. At least I think most of our listeners want them to go, but we'll wait. We'll go through it all together. But we're talking about the Chinese. And again, that whole thing, I think the president, of all the things, there's things that he's done that you like, things that he's done that I don't like. But the thing, without a doubt, the best thing he's done, in my opinion, there's two things. One was cutting red tape, which he's done a great job with. But really the best part that he's done has been his battle with China. We've been saying this, really, my uncle's been saying it since NAFTA and GATT. China's not our friend. Right? They're not an ally. Matter of fact, just the other day, did you see we had to admit the other day, China's Navy, now they've got the largest Navy in the world. And we were talking about how they've been spitting out aircraft carriers. 10 years ago, I don't even think they had one aircraft carrier. Now we're saying, hey, they've got the largest Navy in the world. They have more missiles than we do, right? They have more, let's face it, they got more troops than we do. I mean, they are a force to be reckoned with militarily. But on the flip side, we don't really focus on that too much. What we say to that is, what is it financially? That's where we focus. Where are they? And we know a few years back, before Donald Trump was president, and there was that other guy in there, they allowed China to become a reserve currency. Even though they didn't meet the criteria. And a lot of the criteria had to do with, the fact that they steal, right? A lot of it has to do with the accounting practices of the Chinese, right, and things of that nature. They just weren't ready, but we gave it to them anyway because you know why? We had to. They forced us. Well, they forced the guy that was in office before Trump to do it. And at first, everyone was like, oh, see, it's not bad. No one's jumping to the Chinese currency. And then fast forward 4 years, and now all of a sudden, we're starting to read about China's ready to use Treasuries as a weapon, right, as a financial weapon against the United States. J.P. Morgan, who, by the way, big players behind this. See, I'd like to put the blame all at the Obama administration's feet. I would, because they couldn't resist the swan song of the bankers. But these bankers, they wanted this badly. You go back to who wanted NAFTA and GATT the most. It was the bankers. They wanted it the most. They wanted to sell debt in China. They wanted to give them credit cards and sell them auto loans and do all that other stuff. They wanted in. And why not? I could understand it. Sure, there's 1.4 billion people there. Who wouldn't want in? But they didn't care how they get in. They don't care that by getting in, it weakened the United States. They didn't care. And I mean, look at what they did. Right? I mean, Donald Trump keeps talking about trying to bring jobs back. Right? I keep telling you, it's a great soundbite. But no matter what he does, the 99% of those jobs that left, they may move some out of China, but they ain't moving them back here. Right? Yeah, what was it yesterday, the other day? I told you about General Motors. Yeah, we're moving stuff out of China to Mexico. They're moving stuff. Apple, we're moving stuff out of China. We're moving it to India and Vietnam. Right? Why? Well, because we want to get into the Indian market and the Vietnam market, right? You get the idea. But J.P. Morgan, over the last 24 hours, out of nowhere, said that over the next 5 to 10 years, the role of the renminbi as a reserve currency, they're going to be number 3 in the world. In other words, hey, the United States, the dollar is still going to be number 1. And we think the euro is going to be number 2. But the Chinese, they're going to be right there at number 3. And here's what we know. As China has been steering away from the dollar, the big influx is going, obviously, to their own currency, to the euro as the benefits, right? The one country that's losing market share to the Chinese is us. And now, out of Shanghai, China said that in light of rising tensions with Washington, the state-backed Global Times said that China will gradually decrease its holdings of U.S. debt to about $800 billion under normal circumstances. So that's a 20% decrease. However, they said, oh, by the way, we got another one in case it's not normal. We'll talk about that next. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour, talking about the front page in China today, talking that the Chinese are going to start reducing, well, they've already started, but it's reducing significantly their holdings of U.S. Treasuries. Now, they're saying they want to get down to $800 billion. Okay, which would mean, hey, that's $200 billion worth of treasuries that will need to be bought by somebody else, i.e. the Federal Reserve. I guess the bigger thing in the article was we could sell all of it, right? And they referred to that it would be something bigger than like a military type conflict where, quite honestly, right, that kind of could be where we're headed. I mean, it's been nuts out there. And China now saying that they're ready to use Treasuries as a weapon. They've been hitting at this for a while. On top of that news was J.P. Morgan saying, hey, by the way, it started. You know, China role as the reserve currency was very little. And now all of a sudden they're starting to walk, and J.P. Morgan's like, they're going to sprint here in the next 5 years. You're going to see the Chinese reserve currency status, the percentage. They're talking like 500% increase in use of the renminbi as a reserve currency. And this is exactly why I said the best thing Donald Trump has done is to call the spade a spade. China is not our friend. They are really, we call them our enemy. They're our competitor. I mean, that's another way. I mean, yeah, I'm saying they're our enemy because normally when you compete, you want to compete on a level playing field. And, of course, China has no interest in that. And it's something where, again, our vulnerability as we continue to print out of the printing press and the massive amounts of debts and the huge debt levels that we have as a nation is coming home to roost. And the paper was talking all about our debt to GDP level. And you got to remember, these bankers wrote all these books, wrote all these papers to justify the debts that we used to have. Do you know, according to their own books and papers, that an acceptable debt to GDP level is 60%? Anything over that is dangerous. So you think about, we're at $27 trillion, and I know they don't like to count it all, right? And they want to pretend we're only around $20 trillion. But the realities are, according to their own logic of being the stewards of our financial well-being, the debt, no matter how you count it, big number, small number, way above any acceptable level that they've ever talked about. And literally we're seeing the central bank, especially in the last, 15 years, just destroy all of the things that it told us that they stood for economically, and all their best research and all their best brains, if you will, that said, hey, this is the levels that are acceptable, this is what isn't acceptable, and if you cross this threshold, eventually you will devastate the citizenry of the country financially. And that's exactly what they're doing. And again, they just keep doing it over and over and over and over again. And now the Chinese are just throwing another log onto the fire. So we'll have to pay attention. We're going to have to pay attention. We're going to close a little early today. But I do have, I got a couple of items. I don't have very many. We have 16 rolls of the AUP dollars. Remember, we sold those yesterday, $630. What a great buy there on AUP dollars. $630 a roll. I've got 16 rolls left. And then this morning, we bought $55 gold pieces, and I think the cheapest we've been, since this whole thing started, was $575, and you had to buy volume to get that price. They're 565. So this is the lowest the $5 gold piece has been since the start of it here. You just don't have a lot of them. 800-951-0592. That is our toll-free number. Take the time, add to your portfolios. I know a lot of you don't. Gold's really just hanging out. This. It goes to 2,000, 1,900, 2,000, 1,900, 2,000. We're waiting for this leg to be over. I think this is it. This leg is over. Now we're going to go into full-blown election mode is what I think is going to happen. I think the Wall Street rally is probably on hold right now. And I think that we're going to focus a lot more on details. And again, I think we're going to see new all-time highs before the end of the year. So sitting here at, we're at 19 and a quarter. Take advantage of that. Gold has been holding support here, really for the last, when did this start? About 3 weeks ago. Remember, we had the Fed announcement, then the next week we had Jackson Hole. Now it's Labor Day. Gold keeps holding every single time, and there's a reason. People keep buying. 800-951-0592. Final segment before we head out for the week. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment for the week. Remember, just another reminder, we're closed. The Patriot offices are closed on Monday. The radio stations are closed on Monday. They'll be back Tuesday. I will not be here Tuesday. I'm having surgery. Hopefully I'll be back on Wednesday. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. We're right on schedule. We're all caught up here in Phoenix and Colorado. Shipments are coming. We've figured out the slowdown with the post office. I think we've got our handle on it now, and everything's flowing a lot better. Obviously, supply still a big issue. So as we continue to see how this plays out, let's hope it stays calm. People are nervous. You look at the rioting, and it seems like it's spreading. People are worried about who. I think Trump's going to win, but so few states and so few people. This thing could come down. It could come down to 10 or 20,000 people. That's not that many. We'll see. I'm hopeful that it won't. I think that the American public are smart enough. We need law and order. And listen, has he handled COVID great? Nope. Sure hasn't. Is it getting better? I hope so, right? But you think about all the other things. Yes, is he, I want to choose my words carefully. Is he a narcissist of epic proportions? Yes. Does he talk like very plainly like guys, at a bar? Yes. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. Does he exaggerate? Sure, but they all do, right? Come on. But neither here nor there. The thing is, though, what is he doing? He's trying to protect America, and I mean, he really is. And I'm not talking about any of this stuff about, bringing jobs home or this, that, or the other. I'm talking about his fight with China. This is, in my opinion, the number one issue economically by far, and most people don't even know what's happening. That's the scary part. They don't realize the power that China's become. I'll pick a country like Australia. Everyone, oh, yeah, Australia, they're absolutely a huge American ally. Without the United States, as far as a trading partner, that's a little bit of a problem for Australia. Without the Chinese, they're devastated. Right? And this is the thing, and I use Australia, but Australia's on that side of the world, but even through Europe, right? Their number one trading partner is no longer us. It's the Chinese. And they're not playing games. And Joe Biden's not going to protect us. Matter of fact, we're going to get more of the same. It will accelerate the problem I think it's inevitable. I guess that's the bad part about it. It's not like I just want to delay it. Hey, buy us a few more years. I'll live with it. Keep putting gold away. You're going to be glad you did. $5 Liberties until I'm out. The cheapest price we've had them all summer, $5.65. Of those AUP dollars, the last of those at 6:30. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back on Tuesday. I'll be back on Wednesday. And listen, everybody out there, please take care. God bless everybody. God bless America. Stay safe. We'll be back next week.